podcast. Welcome to the vibe.
Blessed ones, what's up? I hope y'all like my new intro. That is a beat that I got from YouTube by a producer named of B Mac, and y'all can check him out on YouTube, Instagram, Soundcloud. And that will be my free promo for the week. I will leave a link for what. Sorry. I will leave a link for where you can find that at. Okay. Now, staying on music, I would like to say that Keisha Cole and Ashanti, I am definitely looking forward to that. You know, I was saying that I was calling, and I was saying I think Ashanti got this one, but before I started recording this and getting this podcast ready, I was like, I had to go back and look at some of the work, some of the records, and I might have to side with Keisha on this one. I love both of them. Like Ashanti, has some smash records with Lloyd, Ja, you know, herself, and with her being, coming from that Murder Inc., the Ink umbrella, you already know what time it is. But and of course with her writing records for J Lo, of course we would think that, hey, it's an easy peasy. But I ain't gonna lie, like Keisha, that was like the young Mary. I remember when I first heard Keisha Cole. My first song I heard her was with Kanye West. I'm like, who's this redhead light skinned girl? I'm like, yo, she was like, she was just like so fine. And I ain't gonna lie, like when I heard, I said, oh, you know what? And then like when I started listening to her music, and her first album was remarkable. And and as well as Ashanti's, like this is probably going to be a good versus. A lot of people might have feel like, oh, it ain't going to be as good as Brandy and Monica, because I guess they have like some type of history there. But this is actually going to be some good record, so a good verses. I don't know exactly if what records they're going to play, because you never know. Like when you have some records, and if you have more than a certain number, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that Ashanti don't got 20. I'm not gonna sit and say that Keisha don't got 20. I think they got 20, at least. But like you gotta think Keisha got a record with Tupac, Game. Like I said, yay. She got like, and like I said, she was like on, like when she was coming up, she came out hot. She was on a lot of records, and she can hold her own as well. She can sing her ass off. Like Keisha Cole, I might have to go with. I actually was one of my old loves. She's a big Keisha Cole fan. And my favorite. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't even remember the name. It was I want to say it might have been on her first or second album, but it was like, you'll see that I'm all you need and all that you dream you never will leave. Well, look, I'm not a singer, so I'm not gonna really get into that. But I'm I'm looking forward to this versus. It will be this coming Saturday, this coming weekend, and that's one of my dearest friends' birthday as well. So if she is hearing this, I know she's probably gonna listen to that because I know she love Ashanti. Because as a matter of fact, I'll give you a story like. Cause me, I used like I buy CDs, and I remember when I had the Ashanti rec albums. I used to always get the Ashanti albums, and then just because at the same time, me being someone who used to make CDs and burn CDs, I would give her the physical copy. I would give her the original copy. I remember giving her and her sister the chapter two album, and I think also Concrete Rose. But thank God for Apple Music. They got that. So, but I'm definitely looking forward to this verses. I'm going back and forth with it though because, like I said, I don't. I mean that's gonna be one of those ones. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, like I said, I don't have anything going on that day. But yeah, shout out to Tim and Swiss on this one. Like there was we wasn't exactly sure if either of them was gonna do one. And I know they got some cooking up. I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and they was talking to Swiss about temp as far as like Mason Cam, and I'm like Mason Cam, that would be a good one. I'm still gonna say as far as like what New York need because Atlanta had the Gucci and Jeezy jank, and I think New York Mason Cam would be a good one. Um, like I said, Fat Joe and Buster. I'm gonna keep saying that Fat Joe and Buster. Like if they can't figure out who to put with Buster, I think Fat Joe could. That would be a real good versus. Two OGs. Know what I'm saying? Been in business for a minute, and then they also been known to be some like the gatekeepers. Putting a lot of people on. A lot of history. So Fat Joe, Buster, I really think that would be a good versus. You know, Dipset and G Unit. I know that was something that was definitely talked about, or Dipset and the Locks. And I ain't gonna well, I wasn't really familiar with the Locks until I was older, and that goes for the same with with the Wu Tang. I knew who they were. I kind of knew the impact they had, what they contributed to the game, but I didn't listen to them until I was older. Like I said, like I mentioned all the time, when I was younger, like I didn't start listening to hip hop heavy until I was a teenager, until I was like in ninth grade. So there's a lot of artists that I had to listen to that I listened to later, which has to go, which meaning also meaning Jay Z. Happy belated to the OG, Jigga Man, rap guy Hove. But he had just had a birthday on the 4th. I think that was what, Friday, yeah. So I like to do my podcast. I do my podcast live. I put it, I record it and put it out right after. So today is Sunday, the 6th. So, with me, being, growing up, like I mention this all the time. I mention this all the time. Whether I'm a podcast with other people, I didn't start listening to rap until like having to. I'm not if I said a teenager, but probably yeah, like 12, 13, pretty much yeah, so a teenager. I was familiar with LL, Kid and Play, Will Smith, all that stuff. But when I started listening to it heavy, like I said, you have the Fabulous and the DJ Clue mixtapes, Lil Mo, and then and then I got really hooked to 50 Cent and G Unit. Then Diplomats. New York hip hop was what I can't like kind of came on, got introduced on, and then of course me being from Virginia, because I had to show my support to the Clips, Timbaland, Missy, all them, Pharrell, all them. Know what I'm saying? But I remember 90s hip hop. So yeah, like I mentioned, Jay Z. There's been a lot of rooms on in Clubhouse that I am in where they'd be like they was talking about the most influential rappers, and a lot was saying Jay, a lot was saying Master, and had all these other artists, and I'm sitting here thinking like the most influential rapper. I couldn't really because in some sense sometimes I can get a little argumentative. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to say Jay for real because I mean Master P's a rapper, but you know I look at Master P more of just like a pioneer, just someone like he raps, but that's not like his biggest. I don't think that's like his biggest stuff. He's like a businessman, like say he's definitely got like a blueprint. He's definitely was definitely doing doing moves like way before. I remember like when he was doing movies, he was putting everybody else on. But I don't know if he is the biggest influence only because J- Jay-Z is a rapper and he's still actively rapping, and Master P is probably like this is a second running because we ain't gonna get it twisted. Before we got the state properties and the the Rockefellers and everything, we had the Low Limits and the other Master P movies and things that he had. But I think that outside of outside of business, Jay Z is probably the most influential because like everybody that's coming up now, they're following Jay Z's blueprint. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry for kind of stumbling across my words, but like I said, I don't. This ain't scripted, so it's kind of like I try to explain. But anyway, so yeah, I think Jay is definitely my favorite. Like I mention all the time, Jay, Nas, Joe Budden. It's no joke. I really mean that. But yeah, just sitting here thinking, you have Jay, P. I mean, some will say Dre, Dr. Dre, and Birdman, and even Lil Wayne. And I'm like, well, Lil Wayne. I think Lil Wayne's, he has stuff that like he has some other things outside of music. I think, but he influenced like the the new class. But you gotta think Jay influenced those people that influenced them. And then of course Ye, Ye is another influence. He could be, definitely three, and he's still doing things. Like I said, he has, he kind of followed Jay Z blueprint as well. So that's kind of like another success. And I do remember someone mentioning in one of the rooms, Kanye might be Jay Z's biggest success, and I can agree. I wouldn't even say Beyonce, because here's an argument. Beyonce, when Beyonce was coming up on her solo thing, it was pretty, Jay Z was pretty much right there. But to be perfectly honest, the fact that they elevated each other, because Jay was still Jay, Beyonce was, still Beyonce Bunch, but I think that Beyonce made Jay even a bigger superstar. A bigger superstar. And I remember when Jay-Z retired back in it was like '03, because this was another debate when they was doing the best album of 2003, and they had a couple of heavy hitters on the list, but what ended up being the biggest debate was Get Rich or Die Trying or the Black Album. I'm gonna say the Get Rich or Die Trying. That album, like, because at the same time, 50 Cent had that whole, just had like ended up taking over that whole year. Like, I forgot exactly what day it came out, but I do feel like Get Rich or Die Trying was the better album. And then, even then at that time, with me still being like 16, I was like I said, I was still grooming. I was still in the grooming stage. Like, I was, just kind of start, you know, getting active, with, with women and certain things. Like I said, I was 16, high school. Matter of fact, no, I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. I was a little bit more active before then, but when I was really like started knowing what I was doing. But but Jay Z, yeah, he definitely a force. And then he came back with Kingdom Come, which for some reason I don't know if people they from what I remember, people hated the album. Of course, it's not his best album. I personally wouldn't say it's his wackest album either. A lot of people, like, again, Reasonable Doubt, classic album, first album. A lot of people still say that's his best album. That or The Blueprint. And I mean, either one can be argued. I mean, like I said, and I guess it's just only based on how old you are and how heavy you was into to hip hop at the time. But Kingdom Come, I thought was a good album. It was a real cool album. It wasn't. I don't think. I don't know if there was any whack songs, but there was. Kingdom Come had some records. Lost One, 30 something. I liked Hollywood, with him and Beyonce. Dig a Hole, Beach Chill, The Prelude. Like I don't know what people was talking about, but that Jay Z Kingdom Come album was good. Not a lot of rappers can retire and then come back, and like retire and then come back. And then it's like Jay Z had like two different rap careers. I know I know Mace did it. Like he came back and Welcome Back was alright. I know we mentioned Mace and Cam versus earlier in this episode, but that's another thing. That's another thing. Mace. He left. He left in his prime. And Jay left in his prime, then he came back and he was still in his prime, really. So, like I said, he didn't lose a step as far as I was concerned. You know what I'm saying? And but speaking of retirements, Tiana Taylor, she's announced her retirement. Just at the age, just with her being 29, having 3 albums. I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. Like I love Tiana Taylor. I like her in move in the movies that she's been in. Like for those of you who don't know, like I said, she was I mean, of course, she was not even gonna say she was unforgettable. I guess she was probably like I don't know for some reason. I think she might have just been real young and Stomp the Yard too. And then of course she played in. She had a couple of. She was in a couple episodes of the show Star on Fox, which is a great show. I wish they bring that back. And of course, we seen her in Medea, Big Happy Family. Byron, yeah, like she's very talented. And like I said, she can dance, act, sing. She's like one of the freshest females that I ever seen. Just as far as like her style, you know what I'm saying? Beautiful family, wife of Ahmad Shepard, and like I said, I believe they got 2 kids. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about Tiana retiring. She just had an album that came out this year. I know there was I don't know if it was the fact of her feeling unappreciated, but I think Tiana's great. And I will say if she do retire, hopefully, she continue to do other things. Like I said, like in the fashion world and the movie world, television world. Cause like I said, she's definitely a talent that is definitely then like those who know. Like I said, the ones who matter, they know what time it is with that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Tiana Taylor is definitely dope. I just, I did wish she would have probably had more music, you know, but she did have a great album this year. You know what I'm saying? And then also, like I mentioned, because again, same thing, like Ashanti, Keisha Cole, both of them, they was releasing music. Then I don't know. I think they're still doing music, but they we don't see much. They don't release that much now. They're kind of like low key, and with Tiana Taylor, I can say she's one of them, like TL one of TLC's kids, Aaliyah's kids. Rest in peace to Left Eye and Aaliyah. Man, I miss them. I miss a Left Eye and Aaliyah, like for real. Because when you can, because like Tiana is a R&B superstar, part of hip hop culture. Like she's like hip hop soul. And that's really what TLC and Aaliyah was, hip hop soul. And then you have the like I said, you had the Aaliyah and TLCs. They was beautiful black queens, beautiful black women who wore the baggy clothes and they had the tomboyish look, but they could sing, dance they ass off. And when you think about when you think about Aaliyah and TLC, you gotta also think about the Missies, as well. And Tiana Taylor, you got here are people who I really feel are elite R&B singers who may not who we may not hear from as much as fans would like as far as music, and that's Tiana Taylor. Tanaje, I love Tanaje. This is just me personally. Tanaje and Seven Streeter. We have more artists who's out here like the Danny Lees out here, and there's just so many. Kaylani. Um, man, it's so many. It's so many women, so many women singers. Who has that. That has that style of music that is memorable, but we don't get enough of it. As much music as Janae put out, I know she's been a little bit more consistent, but I want to hear more of Janae. Like I want to hear Janae as much as I hear Drake. I wanted to see and get more from Tiana Taylor as much as we was getting from like the Waynes and the Migos. And the only reason why I said them is because Wayne, another, like I said, another great rapper, definitely one of the best. But like I said, to me, he's overrated. Migos, they hot. Future, they hot. They on fire. When they come out, it's always smash. But I think too much of something can kind of make it more than what it can make it better is more than what it really is. But with Tiana Taylor, I think that we get enough of her, but not too much of her. If that makes sense, like Rihanna, was another one. She got enough albums to retire. But she didn't. She's doing her thing right now, doing her fashion thing, everything with Savage Fenty and everything. So shout out to Rihanna. I would love. I'm hearing that she's releasing something and it's gonna be good, and I'm looking forward to it. The only thing, like I said, with Tiana, like I didn't like just me personally as someone who loves her music. I wanted more. I wanted. I think we probably like when she dropped Seven with Kanye. I believe, yeah, Seven with Kanye. I think she's probably should have had a lot, and a lot of us feel this way. We probably should have got more from her. There was a lot of pushback, and like I said, it might just be politics. This is just my view. Um, but I really don't really know. Like I'm kind of like, man, I don't want her to retire right now. I want like, give me one more. Just give me one more. Let me get one more. But again, she's a mother, wife. You gotta, she like I said, she probably don't have to do any more music. Like she's good, but just a fan of me sometimes gets selfish. And that's why I think that's the thing. I know we have a lot, like the women are on fire, like the women artists, the women creatives, they're on fire. They are doing it. Like another thing I wanted to say was the whole thing with Mulatto and the controversy that she's going through with the name change because it's offensive, and it's like, this could be kind of like what the name can kind of like keep her from keep her from man, keep her from further opportunities. And let me say this personally, and maybe because, and this is just me personally, mulatto is not offensive. I don't understand why it would be offensive, but maybe I have to do more research on it. And with her being 21, and she's still fairly new. Like I said, she I forgot what show she was on at like 15, but like I said, she kind of been doing her thing. I remember she was on a Vlad interview and she mentioned that hey, she don't like to be considered white or black, but biracial. And that's from what I understand. That's what I thought mulatto meant. Like me going in my history on my mother's side, and this is what it said from when I was doing the research and looking at the background and stuff. I actually have mulatto relatives, mulatto great grandparents, and it said mulatto on their birth certificate, or yeah, on their birth certificate, mulatto. I mean, I think everybody has the right to be offended, but the thing is, how much, like if it when it comes to a name, like if mulatto, the rapper, wants to call herself mulatto, she should have every right to call herself that. Because that's her name, and that's what she would say she is. Like even though she has a black fan base, and the hip hop community is uh, predominantly black. Those are the people who are supporting her, and it's like they're getting offended, and I'm like, well, that's her name. It's not her name, but that's her rap name, and that's been her rap name. And I just think sometimes we get a little oversensitive with certain things. But I'm not gonna speak for people who are mulatto or what not, because that's them. But I just feel personally for me, I don't know what be offended. Like I said, that's her name. That's what she want to be called. Don't speak for me. Like if somebody wants to be called the head nigga in charge, I mean that could be offensive to a lot of people. Just don't call me that. Okay, you could call yourself that. Just don't call me that. But that was pretty much all I had to say in regarding to that. I think we all just have to have a level of respect for each other and respect for ourselves, because that's one. But respect for ourselves is only based on what we want to hold value to ourselves. Like I said, if she wants to be called mulatto, that's like I think if she feels like that's gonna mess up her bag, then okay. But I don't feel like that's something that I don't know. I think that it's just like, man, everybody's gonna be offended over something. Everybody's gonna be offended over something. We can be offended if I can be offended if you're offended. Like you offended me because you're alive or something. You offended me because you dislike. So people want to cancel culture, all this. It's just crazy to me. But and this goes back to, and this comes down to another point that I wanted to make. There was I think last week there was a restaurant called True Kitchen and Cocktails, I believe, in Dallas. A place that I still haven't been, but I want to go to. I From what I see, it's a beautiful city. It's a It's a cool place to be. I mean, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but look, I will give Dallas the credit. It's a nice, beautiful city. Like I really want to go there. And then of course, Texas is that's the town. You got Texas. Like you got Houston. You got shout out to my homegirl in Fort Worth. Dallas, El Paso. Like you got places like this, like big cities. But apparently, there was a restaurant owner, Kevin Kelly. He had ended up doing like I guess he did like an intervention at this restaurant because there was some customers who was twerking in his establishment, and a video went viral and he went off, and then it was like backlash for it. I actually got a clip that I actually want to play. So let me play it real quick. This concept so black people can have somewhere nice to go to, okay? Somewhere where we can feel good about ourselves as they. Because one, stop the music, please. Somewhere where our people can feel good about ourselves as a culture, okay? No, no, real talk. And so all this twerking and shit, take it to Prime, take it to Pink, don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. And so beyond that, 75% of my customers are ladies. And I want men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass here? If you want to do it, get the fuck out my restaurant. Because I did it for our people and I did it for our culture. So don't do it again. I don't want to hear it. If you don't like it, get out because I don't need your money. I need to provide something for my people. And don't do it again. Thank you. Okay, so that was Kevin Kelly. That's a sweet name, by the way. Which means, hey, I like that name. But yeah. So apparently, from reports, these young ladies were twerking on a table. They was on a glass, and they started twerking. He had came over there and addressed it a couple times to him, more than once or maybe once, I don't know. But either way, you're at a restaurant, you're twerking. I don't really know like I said, it's like a Southern cuisine type restaurant, so of course I'm sure it's a family restaurant. And like he mentioned, the majority of the establishment, has ladies in it. Like it's just like a majority of ladies in there. But at the same time, you're at a restaurant. If you want to twerk, go to the club. Go over here. Don't do it here. Because just imagine, of course, again, somebody's gonna be offended. Somebody's gonna be offended by something. But you're going to eat. And I understand. I don't know what type of music they was playing because there's music that you might not can't help. But I seen a video of the one of the ladies twerking. And I mean, it seemed like she was a little hesitant at first, and I think somebody else at the other table started doing it. But my point is, I don't see nothing wrong with what he said. Him cussing and raising his voice. I mean, if he came to you respectfully and nicely told you, don't twerk here, please, at my restaurant or whatnot. No, then that should be it. You know, it's a public place, but it's still my place. This is my place. Respect it. We shouldn't have to put a disclaimer on everything when we go into places, but at some point we probably gonna have to. He had to set the tone. I mean, if he already talked to you about it and then you still do it, it's like, hey, all right, fuck you, I'm gonna still do it. I'm all right. So now I'm gonna have to, like, he didn't point it, he didn't say nobody's name, but he still had to come and address it in front of everybody. And I know from reports he did apologize for his choice of wording. And I know he talked about how, I guess, when he seen her, he seen the girl twerking when she put her hand on the glass, and he automatically thought, he first immediately thought lawsuit. This can, she could probably hurt herself, this and that. But either way, just respect my space, all right? Respect my house. This is my place. So I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong. Sometimes you gotta set that tone. It's kind of like, hey, when I come to you politely and ask you, don't do this, and then you still do it, then I gotta get nasty. But now I'm the bad guy. You gotta conduct yourself professionally in a business setting. But apparently, if you're gonna deal with a bunch of insubordinate people and people who don't ain't really gonna abide by a request or your rules. Like I said, he don't need the money. Like, if you want to do that here, if you don't want respect, you can not come back here. He has every right. I don't think he did anything wrong. But it is interesting because it makes, just based on, like, there was, I seen some comments, they, of course, it's reported, but you have people who, like I said, everybody has something to say. I have something to say. You have something to say. Everybody has something to say. But the thing is, how can you tell somebody? How can you tell this man he's wrong because they didn't listen? But again, they won't dare. I don't know. Like I said, he already apparently, like I said, he apologized. But again, we have so much entitlement of some things that we don't even have. Like, we have so much entitlement on what other people, how other people need to uh handle their business. But it's like, well, we just want to have something common about, which is ironic because I'm commenting on it. But I just think that I think it was just kind of like distasteful for the women to do that because look, I love me a shaking ass, but I'm gonna be real. And maybe again, you can have some class when you're with, like, if say if there's older people or kids around, but if there's no kids around, it's like, okay, yeah, you got to read the room, but at the same time, it's a restaurant. You know, there's sometimes you have to not try to get your Megan Thee Stallion on all the time, whether if her music is playing or not. Which again, set the mood. If you got that music type of music playing, that's what's gonna happen. So again, it's one of those things. But I just don't personally think something. I don't personally think anything's wrong with what he said. What else? What else do I have? Um, I did want to address something about Virginia. Someone, it was brought to my attention on Twitter that Portsmouth, Virginia, one of my old stomping grounds, I guess you can say, was rated number one in crime rate in the U.S. So, prior to this podcast, I had to go see for myself, and apparently, it is number one crime rate, but it's not in the United States, but in the state of Virginia. Portsmouth, Virginia. Portsmouth, Virginia is like the Chicago of Illinois or something, or the Detroit of Michigan, or maybe the, I don't know, Brooklyn of New York or something. But Portsmouth, Virginia is definitely one of those places that you have to be careful in. Me living in Norfolk, Virginia, we are number 9 in the state of Virginia for crime rates. And as I mentioned before, when I was talking about family history, Danville, Virginia, is number two in Virginia. And Danville, Virginia, is again a country town. But like I said, it is where my roots come from. My granddad, may he rest in peace, on my daddy's side is from Danville, Virginia. He was born in Danville, Virginia. His daddy, Danville, Virginia. His daddy, Danville, Virginia. Like pretty much up until like maybe as far as back as 1850, from as far as I was able to go, Danville, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, which is a county, and yeah, it was definitely a slave town, and of course Virginia being a slave state. But I just found that interesting that Portsmouth, one of those places that I kind of say, okay, these are where all my friends, most of my friends are from, and then my family, we rooted in Danville. I just thought it was like, man, it's kind of wild. But let me say this: thankfully, like most of those places, though, thankfully, the crime rate, is only the crime. Well, not, I'm not gonna say the crime rate is higher in uh in the property damages, not murder damages. Now there's some numbers up there in murder rates, but according to the today.com, the Portsmouth being number one in the Virginia, it's like, man, because Portsmouth is definitely one of those concrete rose type of town. Got so many talented people, so many beautiful people that comes from out of there. Like I said, Missy Elliott, you know, producer, singer, songwriter, rapper, entertainer, entrepreneur. She's from there. Straight out of Portsmouth. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first moved to Portsmouth, 1999. Formed a lot of great friendships out of that place. Like my brothers, from another, 20 plus years of friendship, because of Portsmouth, because of being out of Portsmouth. Portsmouth's rough. Portsmouth is a rough place. You have the community there. You like I said, they're like pretty much everybody know everybody. It's one of those type of places. If you are from Portsmouth, if you was born and raised from Portsmouth, and you're outside, you're someone who's actually outside, people like everybody's pretty much family there in Portsmouth. But it's just a lot because thankfully, like I said, the murder rate isn't the highest crime rate in Portsmouth, but it's still happening. But it's so much killing going on there as well. But because like when I saw the tweet, I'm like, hold on, wait. 'Cause I was surprised myself. I was like, Portsmouth number one in the United States. I said, hold on, wait. If we surpass Chicago, and I never been to Chicago, but like I said, it's just like, if we surpass Chicago, wow. But if we surpass DC, wow. But apparently it's actually Detroit, Michigan. That is the highest in crime rates. But, just looking at numbers, it's just pretty much, like real high. Like you have grand larcenies, you have property damages, theft, and everything. And that was one of the things because damages that happens. That happens a lot. Property damages. Shoot, that can be from, oh, somebody pissed you off. I'm gonna break your window. Oh, you cheated on me. All right, I'm about to slash your tires. Oh, you disrespect me. I'm gonna throw a window. I'm gonna throw a chair through your window. Like stuff like that. I mean, that's still kind of bad. You shouldn't do that. But I mean, I'm just glad that you know that it's not worse than know what it is because like I said now everybody got their own prerogative, but I'm from Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Virginia is my home, and sometimes it's like, man, and that's probably why Portsmouth is probably one of the um cheaper places in Virginia to live in. It's definitely gentrified, but it still kind of got it still has its poor areas like most places, but it's just. And I know we can't always live in a perfect world where hey, if we want to move somewhere, we want to we want to try to find the cheapest place for what the quality is. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to like just live here, live somewhere because it's cheaper. I want to get good quality as well, at least the quality that I pay for. So that's the thing. They're trying to build it up. They get in the casino. The casino got approved for it. As me as I'm trying to, get out of, move out myself, trying to look for places and look for where I'm gonna go next. It's like, man, but like I said again, it's there's crime everywhere. But yeah, Portsmouth is definitely one of those jewels where you have so much potential for it to be more, but it's just like you just can't get away from certain things. People say, you're the product of your environment, and I don't 100% agree with that. But I do just say pray for Portsmouth. All right, pray for everybody, but just pray for Portsmouth because there's just like I said, there's a lot of beautiful people that's coming out of that place. I know a lot of people personally. That from there. Thankfully I haven't lost too many people close to me that came from out of there, but a lot of the people that I have, lost from Portsmouth, like, you know, R.I.P. to Ant, man. Long live Ant, man. That was my big man's right there, man. That was my boy right there. Justice for him, man, because that's another one. He was a lot like me. He's a Portsmouth bred. You know what I'm saying? Good dude, but unfortunately he died from hit and run, and I'm not sure exactly how much. I don't know if anybody came forward, but yeah, just for him. But like I said, yeah, a lot of my good people's from there. Like my ex-wife's from there. My son was born there. My daughter's still born there. A lot of like my brothers, man. And I want for those of you who are listening, just keep Portsmouth in prayer because, like I said, that's one of those that's a place that kind of helped that I lived in and experienced. I only went to middle school there, but I built a lot of lifelong friendships in that place. Lifelong friendships, lifetime friendships in Portsmouth. Like if anybody ever been to DC, I hold Portsmouth as dear as I hold to DC, just only because of my relationships. But yeah, I do appreciate y'all listening. I really did not want to go on this long, like I always say. I actually had a time frame that I wanted to say it, but sometimes, you know, when I need to get it out, I need to get it out. But once again, I do want to thank y'all for listening, taking the time to, really put up with me. And again, produced by B Mac. He's the producer of the intro. You can go, like I said, I'm gonna leave the site available in the description box. And once again, like I always say, continue to stay positive, stay productive, and prosperous. Prayers and blessings, blessed ones. I'll talk to you next time.